Just as you come on.
Good, Karen, how are you?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
He was tardy.
Yeah, that's where they lived, on Sequoia Road, it's out there. Yes, yes. Hopefully it's not their house.
Yeah.
I don't know how many homes are on that road.
Ready, folks? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joe.
Okay, welcome to our board meeting this evening. We're going to first, the public may address the board. Karen, do we have anyone?
We do not.
And do we have anyone in our audience?
Nope.
Thank you. There is currently nothing under information for the public. So we will move into our first discussion, the budget discussion, and turn that over to Mr. Dana Wood. Thank you.
Oh, you want me to share? Sure.
Sure.
Hold on.
We run a team here. It's all, so I think we got
Whatever.
two things for the board's consideration, right, Dana? The repair reserve and the, or start, pardon, the repair reserve and, creation of a capital reserve, as well as the
Right,
adoption.
yeah,
of
because I think, well, last board meeting, you guys approved the capital reserve resolution. And then the repair reserve, I mean, that's just, coming for, public hearing is on the.
The 29th.
It's all under
Yes.
exec for you to, to review over, but I didn't know if there was any.
But yeah, no, but I mean, in terms of the budget discussion, I think we've landed on the number of, what, at our last budget workshop, the 23,100,000, it's an increase of about $700,000, 3.13%. I think currently the tax cap will be sitting at 1.81% will be the tax levy, a little over $300,000 raised. So I think what you see with the budget, because I think, is it? Yes, it is part of one of the documents in the final budget. Look at that. It's, it's a pretty responsible, look at our budgets, considering a 12% increase in health insurance and a little over 10% increase as it stands now for BOCES. And a good portion of that is attributed to the special education side. So that is, that's not pointing fingers at BOCES budget at all, but we have some larger needs on the special ed side, that are being run through BOCES, which is driving that price. We've made some reductions in areas in terms of equipment, that's being reduction about 16%. Our debt service is down about 1.5%. We reduced funds in our transfer funds. That is basically, that is really one category, and that is what we have budgeted over the last few years to fund the Meals for All. When we first started this about 4 or 5 years ago, we budgeted about $215,000 last year. We dropped it down to about $150,000, and we're dropping it down some more. Just looking at the trend over the last 2 years, what in the end the district is responsible for, since we are a CEP school, that's a reasonable number. I mean, last year we only had to cover about $28,000 to balance the books for the food service program. So we're trending kind of in that same area this year as well. So as long as everything is going to be the same for next year, which, as you know, there is some uncertainty in terms of federal funds for school districts. This is a federally funded program, the CEP. But so we saw a reduction there of about 48% based off of that. So yes, what you're seeing is, I think it's a good number. It's not impacting a lot of programming and stuff like that, and trimming where we can to come in at just over about $700,000 increase last year.
Yeah, we made a concerted effort to utilize attrition again this year. So this is the fourth year in a row effectively that we've reduced positions, to not impact programming. So we're looking at, having that absorb some of the overages that were born from our health insurance and special education costs and things like that. So
And if you're looking at the estimated tax rate based off of it is, we're currently sitting at $5.19, and the estimated would be $5.28. An increase of 1.82, but we always use last year's total amounts to factor that in. We won't know until July what the actual.
Rule is final.
Yeah.
Correct, but the trend has been, since I've been in this position, 6 years, it always goes up. So my projections are based off of last year's numbers, and every year since I've been in this position, what has been projected is actually, the final number has actually been lower than the projection. So, provided that trend continues, it will probably be
So
lower.
as the aggregate assessment goes up, your estimate of the tax increase goes down.
Correct, yep. And then, so I use.
It's gonna go down.
Yes, exactly. I mean, that has been the trends in
Right.
the last
For a
6
long
years,
time,
yeah, for
yeah.
a long time. So, but we always go off of the known number,
Of course.
not the unknown
That's all you
number.
can do. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in that regard, I think, it's a very, a very good budget to throw out to the public. That's,
It's a modest increase.
yeah, it's a,
The reports are really detailed. They're very, very helpful
Yeah,
for anybody
it is
to
very helpful.
go over, but, so, thank you. Thank you, Dana. Anything else, Tim?
No.
We're going into reports. Our first report is our policy first read for our ex officio student liaison. There is some content there under the benefits under executive, and I think, Tim, are you briefly going to,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Chat about this. Thank you.
Absolutely. So, and thank you to Doug for giving us a sound reminder in old business at the last meeting to make sure that we address this policy by the July 1st deadline. So yeah, we have a draft policy that I think is an exciting development for our district. It is designed to provide some on the ground student comment and voice for our board meetings. So the way that the policy draft reads is that at the start of each school year, effectively, we would put out a call to any interested 10th, 11th, and 12th grade students. And they would submit a written letter of intent to the high school principal. And in that letter of intent, they would identify how they plan to use their position as an officio member of the school board to help other students. They would indicate their willingness to be a part of a rotation to attend meetings, because we know a lot of these students also have sport and extracurricular commitments. And they would discuss the characteristics that they bring forth for the position. And then ultimately by mid-October, the high school principal would review the applications, meet with the students, and appoint up to 4 student representatives. So that is a deep bench for us. That way we can have relative surety that we'll have students always present in the meeting. And prior to each meeting, once the students are appointed, when we do our agenda setting, I would then review that with the high school principal, and the high school principal would meet with the students and would review the agenda draft with the students, and also hear from them if they have any items in particular from the students that they would like to bring to the floor during the meetings. So that's primarily the focus of the policy. Eligibility beyond being a 10th, 11th, or 12th grade student would also follow our academic eligibility, same policy that we use for extracurriculars and sports. So provided the student is in good academic standing, they would be able to serve in this capacity. So I think
It's a great thing that we're going to be doing, because I know other districts are already doing it, but it really gives us the opportunity to have a pulse on what's going on with the students in school and for them to have a voice. So I think it's exciting.
absolutely. So the goal would be to get the process and policy finalized, and then to enact this at the start of the year next year. So going strong with our first student reps.
Wonderful.
Great.
Any other comments?
Good.
With that said, we will move on to Tim and the superintendent report, please.
Great. All right, so last month was Read Across America Month. I know the board had recognized that in one of the resolutions earlier. I did want to share, though, that at the elementary school, students were tasked with logging their hours outside of the school day for reading, independent reading. And the elementary school students logged over 850 hours for the month. And students who read for at least 6 hours over the course of the month were eligible for a free water safari pass at Enchanted Forest Water Safari Park. So we had 90 students who obtained this. So
Great.
roughly, we're talking over a 30% increase in participation with regards to that. So
That's wonderful.
excellent. Really appreciate Ms. Coffin and Ms. Franklin for promoting Read Across America. Last year, those of you who were on the board may recall, there was the March Madness as well in the elementary school. They do the book competition where beloved children's book go head to head to determine who the Read Across America March Madness winner is. This year, Mo Willems, Listen to My Trumpet, edged out Julie Donaldson's The Gruffalo for the win. My son in first grade is an avid Mo Willems fan, and it was certainly something that he was pleased about. So, and that is the brainchild of Miss Haney, Kat Haney, our elementary school librarian. So thank you to all of our staff who promoted the additional encouragement of reading over the course of the month. At the high school level, our students traveled to the New York Tech Valley First Robotics Competition earlier in the month, just at the end of March. This took place in Albany's MVP Arena. If you recall the ice storm that we had recently, that was the area of travel. It just seems that this group is perpetually hit with the worst weather possible. Last year, they actually, when they attended this conference, were held an additional night and had to stash the robot that they had built in Queensbury, and it was a whole debacle. Thankfully, they all made it back safely. The melt had happened at that time. But our students in 7 through 12, a total of 8, they were accompanied by the 2 advisors, Mr. Carlson and Mr. Lindsay, and they had their best showing that they've had. At this event, it is David and Goliath when it comes to the world of high school robotics. Schools have, larger schools or schools who are better funded than ours, have significant reserves to tap into for this event. And our students did wonderfully. They placed 28 out of 56 teams. And at one point we were ranked 14th in the competition, which is excellent. So it's been the work of the team over the entirety of the year to build this robot. They've worked also in concert with Northwood and have worked with their robotics team at the hub on Main Street. I'd like to thank Northwood. They have been tremendous in their support and collaboration with our students. Overall, it's just been a really tremendous thing to see come to fruition. And we had 3 seniors on the team this year who will graduate, but we have multiple middle school students who are already showing interest. So we feel like this program is continuing. We are gearing up for our phone system to be replaced. This will result in an outage across the district on April 14th. Thankfully, that is during our spring break, but this will allow us to have move away from a landline-based system and have a voice-over internet system and to have all new phones installed across the district. In 2022, the district submitted its 5-year district technology plan. This is one of the last vestiges of that plan yet to be accomplished. So it's a little bit more bread and butter than some of the other things that we've put in place with technology, but nonetheless, we're excited to see this finally come to fruition. I wanted to share something fun that the staff has done on their own over the course of the last month. The Lake Placid Education Association sponsored a staff scavenger hunt over the course of the last month. If you saw additional staff members in attendance at board meetings recently, that was not just in deference to their desire to have their civic awareness raised. It was also that they would receive 100 points in this competition if they attended a board meeting. So there were some interesting categories that the staff were able to get points for. Wearing a wig to school for the day, wearing a blow-up costume at the elementary school was a popular one. And if they took a selfie with me, then they would get points for that.
Wow.
Lots of silly things. And I have several pictures of me with people in blow-up costumes with wigs
That's
on.
cute.
So,
That's great.
but all told, you know, March can be a month that, the doldrums of winter can
Yeah.
come in, and I just applaud our staff for bringing some fun and levity to this, and, it certainly percolated, into the realm of the students, so
That's great.
I appreciate it. Looking ahead, on Friday of this week, our middle high school students, will participate in, the second annual Mill Festival. This takes place right in the middle high school library. The MIL is the acronym for the Mobile Innovation Learning Lab. So you may recall several years ago, the town sponsored the district in a LEAF grant to make our technological closet well stocked. And now we have a litany of robots and coding tools and virtual reality tools that are available for our students. I put a link there that shows the catalog that is available to our kids. It is, there are a lot of wonderful items that students and staff get to utilize in the classroom. And so around this time of year, the Mill Festival takes place. Students go in for a period over the course of the day, and they get to use these different tools. So it's a fun thing, and Ms. Maryhugh and Ms. Patnode have done a good job in organizing it for another year. On the community schools fronts, our staycation plan for the upcoming April break is forming up well. We have over 130 students who are signed up for staycation events, which is great. Students this year will be having the ability to either go to the bowling alley, the movie theater, Emma's, or Pure Placid locally, or they can make a big trip to the Flint Theater to watch the Little Mermaid production.
That's wonderful.
great.
So many children. That's just great.
Yeah. And last but not least, our community classes continue to be well attended. We have over 50 community members that are signing up and participating. We have a pottery class, a baking class, and a car maintenance and care class that are midstream right now. So thanks to our class instructors for providing this service to our community.
I do want to say in reference to the car maintenance and care, Jay Strack has done a great job. So he held a class last week and there were 7 people in attendance. A couple weren't able to get there, but there were 5 women, of which I was included. And it was wonderful because Jay was in his element and it was just some basic things that most of the women were clueless on. And we learned a lot. There's another class this evening at 6 o'clock. Last week it was under the hood, showing us where things were. Tonight, we're going to learn how to change a tire and various other things. But I'm also going to suggest that maybe we do basic plumbing and electrical at some point, because again, many of us, if there was a flood in the bathroom, we are clueless as to where to turn the water off. Simple things like that that are important. So again, this is just another wonderful thing that's come out of community schools. So, you know, not just, you know, all the programs, but now we're getting down and dirty a little bit and doing some different things. So, and then I found out also that instead of having to have another vehicle back up to you where you use the jumper cables, that I'm sure they've had these for a long time, but they have little units that you can have. So we're all purchasing the little units to jump your car. So it was very informative and many thanks to Jay in the central garage.
And if you don't have it back, you can go get one from him.
Yeah, no, but it was just a great class, something a little bit different than the usual. And I don't know, it was a great
That's cool.
thing. So
That's very-
thanks, Tim. Information for the board. Again, there's a couple of items under executive content for you to look at your leisure if you haven't already. Moving on to minutes, which is under consent. And then we're moving into personnel. Personnel consent agenda, recommended action, approve the following items which are included in the personnel consent agenda. 7B, teaching staff maternity leave request. 7C, resignation of community schools coordinator. And 7D, appointment of community schools coordinator. May I have a motion, please?
Second.
Any discussion in any of those personnel items?
You've made a decision on the appointment?
For community schools?
Yes.
Yes, that's correct. Yes, and just no need being veiled about it. So Mr. Clark, his willingness to return to the classroom full-time after 3 years. We knew those were big shoes. I mean, he's done a tremendous job. And I'm very pleased to recommend to the board Brendan Gotham to serve as the next community schools coordinator for the district.
Well, he'll do a great job.
Longtime resident, respected teacher, kind-hearted individual.
Yeah.
We could not do better in a handful of
Yep.
what I
We're
presented
very
to you
blessed.
tonight.
If there's no other discussion, please vote.
Seven, yes.
And congrats to Ms. Bowler on her upcoming
Yes.
maternity leave.
Yes. Okay, moving into our action item category. The first is the recognition of scholar athletes. Recommended action upon the recommendation of the superintendent approve the attached resolution regarding recognition of scholar athletes. And we have two. I believe, or maybe no more.
A whole bunch of.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch for under public content.
It's
Girls-
boys Nordic skiing.
Girls Nordic.
Girls Nordic skiing, girls alpine skiing, boys ice hockey, and girls basketball.
So congratulations to those teams and those athletes. We have a motion, please.
I move it. A second.
Any discussion other than congrats to all of them? Now, please vote.
Seven, yes.
Okay, resolution changing signatory and BOCES board nomination amended are both under consent. Approval of the Lake Placid Central Schools 25-26 budget, recommended action. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby approves the Lake Placid Central Schools Administration program and capital budgets for the 25-26 school year totaling $23,100,000 as presented.
Great motion. I'll second.
Any discussion on this?
Is
Yep.
that John or Doug?
And there are items under executive content to support this. So is there any discussion on this, further discussion? If not, please vote.
Seven, yes.
Next item is School Bus Driver Appreciation Day set for April 22nd. Recommended action is a motion to acknowledge April 22nd, 2025 as School Bus Driver Appreciation Day. And
I'll make a motion.
And I'd like to say thank you very much to Nikki Corson, our director, for all of her efforts, keeping all of our buses on the roads. If there's no other discussion, please vote.
Seven, yes.
Our next item is Administrative Professionals Day on April 23rd. Motion to acknowledge April 23rd, 2025 as Administrative Professional Day. May I have a motion, please?
I will second.
Discussion, many thanks to Karen. Where would we be without you? Her tireless efforts, Karen, you're just always on top of things. I very much appreciate the 15-minute warning for our agenda meeting. And I have sticky notes up in my
Text, the day
kitchen,
of
like
meeting text.
reminding me, but then Karen is on top of things. So very much, thank you, Karen, for everything that you do for us. Any other comments? Please vote.
Seven, yes.
Special education is under consent. Donation acceptance, recommended action. Whereas Lake Placid Central Schools Board of Education policy number 6255, donations, gifts, and grants to the district allows for the superintendent of schools to accept on behalf of the board gifts, donations, and grants having a value of less than $1,500. Whereas monies have been granted as follows. The Adirondack Foundation Educational Opportunity Fund in the amount of $1,500 to be used for the Language Club French immersion trip to Quebec. Now therefore be it resolved in accordance with policy 6255, the Board of Education hereby accepts the check from the Adirondack Foundation Educational Opportunity Fund in the amount of $1,500. May I have a motion, please?
I'll motion it.
Colleen,
I'll second.
Any discussion? Thank you to the Adirondack Foundation for giving us money towards this wonderful trip for the students. Anything else?
We've got another one from EdOp too
Yeah,
coming
we
down the
do.
pike. We're very blessed. in this
Please
district.
vote on this one.
7 yes.
Our last item under action items is donation acceptance again. Recommended action, whereas Lake Placid Central School Board of Education, policy 6255, donations, gifts, and grants to the district allows for the superintendent of schools to accept on behalf of the board gifts, donations, and grants having a value of less than $1,500. Whereas monies have been granted as follows. Adirondack Foundation Educational Opportunity Fund in the amount of $2,500 to be used for the 7th grade trip to Ticonderoga. Now therefore be it resolved in accordance with policy 6255, the Board of Education hereby accepts a check from the Adirondack Foundation Educational Opportunity Fund in the amount of $2,500. May I have a motion, please?
I move.
Second.
Discussion? Again, many thanks to the Adirondack Foundation Fund for funding this trip to Fort Ticonderoga. It's going to be a great day for the 7th graders.
Hopefully they have good weather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a great trip.
Must be one of those.
Did you vote? We did it a couple summers ago when they had the reenactment
Oh,
there.
yeah, that's the best.
It was awesome, but it was extremely hot. It was like 95 out but it was an incredible experience. So it's really fun.
That's 7 yes.
Linking goals with agenda items. Friends, what do we have?
Adopting the budget under finance.
Great. Anyone else? Number 3, community outreach and involvement with all of the community schools programming that we're doing and the programming for the students over the spring break. If there are others that come up later, feel free to reach out to Karen. Going to our second good of the cause. Karen, do we have anyone?
We do not.
Would you like to speak at this time? Okay. Well, thank you again for attending. All right, we're moving into the adjournment phase. Our next meeting date is after spring break on April 29th, when we will meet and have the adoption of the BOCES budget.
There's also a that hearing.
Yeah,
is
the
also-
hearing, the
But that would be-
Repair reserve.
repair
Yes, it'll
reserve.
just be at 5 o'clock.
So we will have a repair reserve meeting starting at 5 p.m. and the regular board meeting will commence after that. Any old agenda items? Any new topics? I make a motion to adjourn at 6:01, please.
Second.
Ask for a motion, sorry.
I give you a motion. That's fine.
You make it first, Ryan.
Ryan and
I'll second.
And Doug. Vote.
I'll be
Vote
yes. My computer just shut down, so.
All right, so does everybody vote? Just vote.
Sorry. Yes.
Say aye.
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 Thank you. Happy spring break
Make
to
sure you get
everyone.
that
Safe
right.
travels wherever you're going.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. See you next meeting.
Are you traveling today?
Me?
Aren't you coming here?
That's not Bloomingdale, that's outside.
Are you talking to me, Karen?
Were you
Mine was
here
outside
for
Bloomingdale.
the 29th meeting?
No, I'm